My name is Teresa Kane. I'm part of the Engage2020 team of the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Library, and we're here tonight to present part of our Arts and Activism series. I am very, very proud to introduce our featured artist. Her name is Rosalia Torres-Weiner, and it's quite an honor to have her here today. Thank you for joining us. Her work has been featured in the Smithsonian and the Mexican Cultural Institute in Washington, D.C. It's also been seen at the Birmingham Civil Rights Institute. And locally, her work has been at the McColl Center for the Fine Arts and Innovation, the Levine Museum of the New South, UNC Charlotte's Projective Eye Gallery, and other places. She also has a 24-foot art truck, and she brings the art experience to underserved immigrant populations in the Charlotte area. She calls herself an archivist, and all of her work is very human-centric, very intriguing. She's a storyteller, a journalist. Her work has many, many layers of meaning, and the people that she illustrates are as brilliant and as vibrant and as exciting as the palette that she uses to paint them. I will ask that you post your questions or comments in the chat area, and we'll answer them at the end. And with no further ado, let me turn the program over to you, Rosalia.
Thank you, Teresa. Thank you for inviting me to share this platform with you and share my work as an artivist. I believe that the artist's role in achieving social justice is to reveal new perspectives, to create a connection to cause, and to give voice to those who are not represented. I call myself an artivist because I have combined my art with my activism. For the past 20 years, I have worked as an artist, an activist, and a community leader in Charlotte. In 2012, I redirected my art from commercial art to activism, and I have been using my art to engage people on issues that affect our Latino community. Next slide, please. I want to share a quick story. When I came to America and I heard for the first time the sound of an ambulance. I remember driving on a busy street in rush hour in LA, and there was a lot of traffic, and I saw everyone pull to the side to let the ambulance pass. I thought to myself, what an amazing act of community. I want to become an American. The next slide, please. But later, I realized that our broken immigration system treated some of the members of the Latino community with hostility and indifference instead of compassion. Next, I also use my art to serve our communities in very non-traditional ways. Play.
I remember when the food trucks came very popular in Charlotte, I thought to myself, what if I have an art truck and instead of food, I sell art tacos. I wanted to bring the art, because a lot of people, they don't know that art is so powerful. And for a long time, I wanted to own a truck, an art truck, and bring it to festivals and neighborhoods. Have you seen the ice cream truck? In Spanish, it's called el paletero. You know, the guy pushing the little car, that's me. You know, like they see me and I turn my music and they're happy to see me. And this is how I wanted to, in my imagination, this is how I wanted to be like the paletero, the ice cream truck. You know, they are excited. There's like, here she comes, there she comes. For these children who during the summer are in their apartments, not doing anything, and I come with the truck, we create art, for them to have this is very special. The little girl that I work with, whose mom got arrested in front of her, I remember I brought just a piece of paper and just brushes and watercolor. I explained to her like how art has helped me in the past, and when I was a little kid I also paint, and I said, I want you to paint what you saw. She painted the mom saying, no, don't take my mom, don't take my mom. And I said, I said, now let's keep painting. And she said, are you serious? I'm not going to cry anymore. And I said, the more you paint, the better that you're going to feel. And then I left my little kid with her, you know, the painting and the brushes. She said, this is for me. And I said, yes, you can keep it. Keep it. And just remember, when you feel sad, when you remember your mom again and you start crying, take that art kit and start painting again. I mean, this is, for me, this is worth it, you know?
How is immigration social justice issue? While immigration is a controversial subject, especially in today's political environment, there is no denying that immigration policy and enforcement is centered on people and their basic human rights to pursue freedom, security, safety, and prosperity. I first came to understand some of the impacts of our immigration policies in 2012 when I started hearing stories about children who had been orphaned or after having one of their parents deported. Next slide, please. I invited children into my studio who were affected by deportation to create a kite and to tell their stories through art. I created the Kite Project. The purpose of this project was to help the children affected by deportation deal with the emotional trauma caused by the separation from their family members. My primary focus was providing a fun and comfortable environment where they could express their emotions using their creative skill like painting, drawing, and collage. Next, please. So I wanted to reach out to more kids, and I wanted to come where they live. I had been pitching my idea of an art truck for several years. And while many organizations thought that it was a great idea, nobody wanted to give me the money because it hadn't been done before. My dream of driving an art truck, I remember, was fading little by little until I was commissioned to paint a mural for the exhibition Gateways at the Smithsonian Anacostia Museum in Washington, D.C. Next slide, please. Yeah, I remember I was very happy because I told my husband that I was going to invest my money that I earned from that exhibition. And I remember telling my husband, I got the money, find me a truck. And he did. Next slide, please. This year, 2020, was going to be my 4th year bringing the arts to people's doors with the help of Arts and Science Council and people like you who believe in me. Through this couple of years working in different areas in Charlotte, I realized that our communities are not just in need of the arts, but also technology. Being married to a technologist and learning how to create digital art, I introduced digital art to those who are part of the digital device with no home computers or internet access. Next. This is a picture, with also sharing digital art with Senior Center, at Senior Center. That was a lot of fun. Last year, I received a grant from Google Fiber so I can continue empowering and transforming our communities. Next slide, please. This is a group of little girls. I was going to apartments, and what I did is I bring colorful iPads, work with them, and then at the end of the class, we were able to print their works. It was amazing to work with these children. And like I said, they were not just getting traditional art, but they were getting technology. And I really think that was like a big deal for me too. Next slide, please. As you can see, I use different tactics to engage the community. I create opportunities for people to engage through art, and not just with my art truck, but through exhibitions and public art. I wanted to create a work of public art right there where the deportations were happening. This mural on Central Avenue is dedicated to the children who are suffering the loss of a relative by deportation. This mural, next slide, please. This mural was created with my community, for my community. And you can find this at the building of Manolo's Bakery. Next one, please. This is another one of my favorite. The Lady of Guadalupe represents fuerza en esperanza, strength and hope. And I dedicated this mural to all immigrants and to those who welcome us in Charlotte. I wanted the Latino people who live right there to feel at home. Next one. For a solo exhibition last year at Georgia College, it was important for me to raise awareness about the Dreamers under the DACA program to other students. I created a series of paintings based on their stories and life of 6 local dreamers. I also created a free app that you can get on the Apple App Store called Red Calaca AR that allows you to hear the stories behind the paintings in their own voices. And I have more pictures of the Dreamers in my studio. I could show you, those pictures, or you can visit my website on my Instagram, and you can find the other Dreamers. It's pretty cool because you download that app on your phone, and then you point it at, like if you were going to take a picture of the painting, and then you'll be listening to their stories. Like I can show you that too. But this is almost the end of my presentation. And my last one is just a little homework for everyone. This is one of my favorite pictures because I hope, that I have helped you to understand immigration as a social justice issue. I also hope that I have revealed new perspectives, created a connection to cause, and giving voice to those who are not represented, to a beautiful audience like you, who are listening. And if I have done any of those things, then I have done my job. Are you ready to do your job? Yeah. You probably didn't think that I was going to give you homework. If any of these stories have inspired you or touched your heart, then I would ask you to consider donating your time, talent, or money to one of the many organizations who help immigrants in Charlotte. We are in perhaps the most challenging environment that immigrants have seen in generations. And I want you to know that it's not happening far away on the borders of Texas and Arizona. There are immigrants in Charlotte who need your help. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, Rosalia. We really appreciate the work that you've done, and the way in which you have done it is just stellar. I do have a question for you. I understand that you started out as an artist. You were always an artist, but you started out as more of a commercial artist. And then you sort of transformed yourself into a totally different type of artist. And I was wondering if you could tell me something about that process.
More when just hit home. It's when just hit right here. And I saw a lot of families being separated, and now children's being put in cages. These are my people, my community, and I've been in their shoes too. I was undocumented for a while, and I was always afraid. I was always afraid until I got my papers. But I understand them, and the only thing that I had in my hands was my art, my tools to tell the stories and to document what is happening in America. So it was very important for me to go from commercial artist to an activist. This is, I think, like I said, we have artists, we have a responsibility to create a change.
And I think you certainly have. I can see in the art that you create that you're documenting other people's experiences, and yet I can feel your own underneath it. Your work is just very eloquent as well as very beautiful. Your work speaks very loudly.
If we can go back to the blue painting.
Sure.
I wanted to share something that this is, as you can see, my art is very colorful. No, the other blue painting. There's another one, just blue painting, and it's
with the workers in it.
Yes, yeah. So it is a Diego Rivera painting, and because I grew up learning about this wonderful Mexican artist, I thought to myself, I said, what about if Diego Rivera was here? He would be documenting also what is happening with the deportations. No, the other one. And this is my only blue painting. No, it's one of the first ones. Second one, no, go down. One more. That one.
There you go.
Yeah. So I transformed his painting. I transformed his painting into a scene of deportations, and I painted a blue because it represents ice. It represents cold, frozen water, and the little girl, is the children that I work with. The money on the floor is the money that we as American citizens pay. This is our taxes that are paying for the detention centers. And there is a judge behind the woman who's been arrested doing nothing. Politicians also, just like you can see them on the back, just like talking, but nobody's doing nothing. And the activists on the very left side. But I painted a little white, yellow on the little girl because for me it represents hope. It represents, that these children, when I work with these children and I ask them, what do you want to grow up when you, what are you going to do when you grow up? And all these children, they said, I want to be an immigration lawyer, Rosalia. I want to be a judge. I want to be a president. I want to change this. This is what I do, this kind of work, because families, children like that they're going through this family separation. And right now, like it's hitting our Latino community more because of COVID, more because, you know, there's maybe just one income in the families. And I know that the children, they're like in the apartments, there's no school, there's no mom, there's no second income. This is, you know, like I'm working on another project right now that I'm going to hopefully, even if it's a little thing, I'm going to be able to help the Latino community through art.
I think this is a huge thing. And I think that your work calls attention to issues that we really should be paying a lot of attention to. And because of the work of artists such as yourself, we can't say the reason we did nothing to help was because we didn't know. You have brilliantly portrayed the desperation of the situation. And I know that cannot have been easy, and I want you to know that I really appreciate it.
Yeah, and I think this is a good, are you still taking, am I responding to this? Are you still taking the bus around Charlotte?
Mm-hmm.
Can you talk about your daily art practice? Yeah, I'm not taking my art track to the neighborhoods because, you know, we know of like COVID. But like I said, I think right now that we're at home and then we're like, I think, I'm speaking for myself, but I think there's a lot of people out there who's like, think hard. What can I do to still like work with my community? And so it was maybe a couple of months that I took for a break, but then I'm like, yeah, I know what I'm going to do. And it was, so I'm going to start this project in a week. It was supposed to be in October. I'm using my art track right now just for murals, but I'll be using my art track to, I think I'm going to tell a little bit of my project, but I'm going to use my track to teach teachers how to teach digital art. And we're going to meet in parks, outdoors. In my truck, I have tables and chairs, and it has an awning. So I will be teaching teachers right now, and moms and whoever wants to come to my class.
And so what does it cost to attend your class?
Right now it's free, thanks to Arts and Science Council and Google Fiverr that they gave me this grant for the whole year. So I only have until the end of this year, unfortunately. But I've been working through, the whole year. I've been teaching digital art. But that's my project right now.
Do you find that the kids, because they are so familiar with technology, do you find that they relate better to the digital art or to the more traditional art, like the watercolor art?
They are into technology. They're into technology. They want to learn because they use their maybe mom's phone, so they're they are eager and hungry for technology. And when I took my idea to the senior centers, I was very surprised how like the seniors were as good as the kids learning, digital art. And I told them, I said, look, I'm almost there. I'm not getting any younger. But I said, let me tell you that why I do digital art to the senior citizens. And I said, because there's always a new version, because there is always like new something, that you have to learn. And then you keep your mind like right here, like fresh and working. And then when I told them that we were going to learn Photoshop and erase some of the wrinkles, they were like, yeah, we want to learn that.
Serious inspiration.
I was going to, I work with children and senior citizens, but I think, the children, like, they can learn like really quickly, as we know, but the senior citizens, one of them said to me, I came to this class and I had like some problems, family problems, But she said, after I took the class, I was not thinking about anything else but learning digital art. And that made my day. That was really cool.
Better than meditation, right?
Yes.
So we have a question from Sabrina. How did you get into activism?
I had a commercial business, and when we had the recession, the economy went down, I found myself not making money, not producing art. And it's when I saw that my community, Latino community, was going through deportations, and I needed to do something with my art. And this is what I did. I started working with children's families separated. And that's when I had that taste of like, there is something more in more than just being an artist. For me, it was so rewarding that it just filled my heart with just that I was doing something in my life. It was very meaningful. And this is when I said, this is what I was supposed to do in my life. I think that life takes you to different places in your life. And I was a manager for a hotel, for the Marriott Hotel. I was a flight attendant. I had other jobs, and you know, every time it's like when you put your destination and it takes you maybe to different places, and that was not my destination. Being a manager, that was not my destination. When I became an artivist is when I knew that I came to my final destination. And I think this is how sometimes, you know, I didn't go to art school, but I wanted to be an artist, but my art found me and took me to my final destination, and a little more than becoming an artivist.
So I would say that art school was not necessary for you, Rosalia. I really appreciate your work. So you had mentioned that you were a muralist. How is it different to paint a mural than it is a smaller size painting that might go in someone's home or in a museum?
Well, of course, I became a muralist because I admire all those muralists in Mexico, and Siqueiros and Diego Rivera and all these big artists. And I remember I asked my mom if I could paint a mural in my room, and you know, first I asked her if I could have wallpaper in my room, and she said no, it is very expensive, wall covering. And she's like, no, it's very expensive. And I said, well, can I paint my wall? And she's like, go for it. And I used Sharpies. I did not know anything about paint. So that was my first mural in my room, and my mom ended putting wallpaper after I left home. But I'm sorry. But then I knew that I wanted to paint murals, but like I said, you know, I went into the hotel business administration. I had a sister in Mexico who was a lawyer, another who was a doctor. And when I said I want to be an artist, of course, that was not a choice. And I went for business administration. But I always use my creativity during all these years. I always use my drawings. That's how I met my husband. And I remember when I came to Charlotte, I was painting murals for my kids. And that's how I started with my mural business. And then my neighbors hired me, and then my neighbors' friends hired me, and then my company, my mural business just went to the roof. I was really, really doing good, making good money, and also I hire other artists to work with me. But that's how I became a muralist. And now that I just finished, and this is not my latest murals. These are related to immigration. But my latest murals, you can go on my Instagram. I just painted a mural with 40 other national and international artists in Durham, North Carolina. and we painted 15 acres of buildings. And when people go by with their kids, and I'm like getting off this boom lift that reaches 65 feet, and I get off, with my harness, and I tell the kids, I said, and they tell me, it's like, I want to be an artist. And I say, okay, just make sure you learn how to operate a lift, because this is what they don't teach you in art school.
No, they don't.
But yeah, no, so it is a learning experience. Like I said, I'm not, I didn't go to art school, but now there is like technology. You go on YouTube, there's books and how to paint a mural, how to make this. And now technology is also helping muralists, because everybody brings projectors. Like at this event, all this 40 artists, we worked together for a week. And at night, you could have seen, like, imagine this, everybody projecting on their buildings, because we needed to get out of there like in a week. So we don't want to waste time. But it was a fun experience. I rather paint murals than painting at home, because I interact with a lot of people. People stop by my murals, and I meet people. I make connections. It's boring to be at home and painting.
I can tell you're an extrovert. That's really cool. And that could really explain how you are able to express the people's emotions so very well, because you are really out there with everyone. We have a question from Sabrina, which is, what medium do you prefer?
The murals.
The murals.
I combine my digital art with my murals. All my murals that I do, I create them on my iPad. And okay. I spend, a couple of days designing, and then when I have it, then it goes on the wall. It's just beautiful. Like, I love technology. Not that one I didn't, that was just, but you have to see my latest murals. I have one in Camp North End. I have one at Discovery Place Museum. I have in different places. And the last one that I did that is amazing, like just being with all these artists from all over the world in Durham, you guys have to visit that site. It's amazing.
It sounds amazing. Do you have one particular artwork that just really you think is like the best representation of what you do?
Probably a mural, but you're talking about a painting. Okay. My series of the Dreamers, I guess, that's, it's my favorite project that I'm working on right now. There is a new dreamer that I'm painting, and what I do is I send them a set of questions, and based on their response, based on their answers, I paint them how I picture them, and then they record their voice and they send it to me like a memo voice, and I listen and I imagine the painting. And this last one that I'm painting is, you can hear in his voice like his sadness, his frustration, his anger, but still, like I asked him, what drives you, to keep going? And he said, my friends, I have hope that, that they're going to give us permission to stay here in America. And these are the children, for example, like these children in this picture, these are the children who are now like in their 20s and 30s. Another one of my subjects is a doctor. She's a doctor now, and she is on the DACA program. If they end that program, that means we're going to have one less doctor in America. She's going back to Mexico. And how could you do this? How could you say one of our doctors who right now is in the front line and send them to a country that is not theirs. She doesn't even, I mean, she speaks a little bit Spanish, but how can you send these children there? Like, we need them here. She is a doctor. And this kid, he's in marketing too, but they're just like waiting. Their future is, yeah, not, they don't know what's going to happen. And it's very important for me to document their stories too. A kid who graduated from a university where he and his dad cleaned for many years. And that's like, wow. He was cleaning that and he said, I remember I went to the bathroom and I didn't have to clean the sink. I was going to wash my hands for the first time when he attended that university. I mean, these are kids who are our future. Why would not allow them to stay? This is what I fight for. This is what I believe, you know, they're our future and we need to help them stay here.
Yeah, I definitely agree that to me it seems that diversity and inclusion just makes our world so much richer, and who would want to live in a place where everyone looked like they were pressed out of a cookie cutter. I really enjoy different people, different types of people, different perspectives, and there is so much room to learn from other people, because everybody has had a different life and everybody has learned something unique, and to be able to share what you have learned and learn from other people, it just makes everyone's lives so much richer, and there is so much room for contribution and sharing. I think that comes out in your art too. We have another question from Sabrina, and that is, what has been the most difficult thing about capturing these stories through your art?
Well, right now is that I cannot meet them in person, and that makes a lot of difference. I always said that my art comes from the stories of the real stories of our community. And when I was going with my art truck to these neighborhoods, I was able to connect with them and listen to their stories. And I remember I said, "Can I tell your story?" And that just like person-to-person interaction, I think makes a difference. Right now that we're meeting like Zoom or via phone, for me, it's not the same. For me, it's not the same. And I will, yeah, I miss that part. That's the difficult thing about capturing that story, that like, yeah. But hopefully, you know, we're going to be again bringing the art truck and working close to my community. If I want to say something add to that is that I remember I had a kind of like a discussion with my neighbor because he said, "You watch too much TV. You watch too much CNN or something," he said. And I said, "You know what? I'm sorry." I said, "But the stories that I'm telling through my art are the stories of people who live here in Charlotte." I said, "I don't even have time to watch TV because I'm out there listening to their stories." And, you know, it is not TV. These are the real stories. These are the real kids. These are real people out there. And like I told my client one day that I was painting on her house, I said, "I don't have to go to Arizona or to find these children. These are our neighbors. This is our stories. This is their stories."
Yeah, and I'm so glad that they have a storyteller and journalist like you to represent them. It means a lot, and we really appreciate it. And the time has come for us to wrap up our our program, but I am so very honored that we were able to have you here today. Thank you so
Thank you.
much, Rosalia.
No, thank you for this opportunity to
You're
share
welcome.
my art. Stay well, amigos.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.